Cleopatra was not actually Egyptian, she was of Greek and Macedonian descent. Her family had ruled Egypt for over 300 years, but they were descended from a Greek general named Ptolemy, who had been one of Alexander the Great's closest companions. Cleopatra was not the only Cleopatra in her family. Her father, Ptolemy XII, had also named his eldest daughter Cleopatra. However, this first Cleopatra died young, leaving the throne to Cleopatra VII. Cleopatra was a polyglot. She spoke several languages fluently, including Greek, Egyptian, Hebrew, and Aramaic. This helped her to communicate with people from many different cultures and to negotiate political alliances with leaders from other countries. Cleopatra was known for her beauty, but there is no definitive description of what she actually looked like. Most depictions of her in art were created long after her death, and many are based on stereotypes and legends rather than actual physical features. Cleopatra was also known for her intelligence and wit. She was well educated in philosophy, mathematics, and science, and she was known for her strategic thinking and political acumen. Cleopatra was the last pharaoh of Egypt. After her death, Egypt became a province of the Roman Empire, marking the end of the pharaonic era. Cleopatra had a son with Julius Caesar named Caesarion, who was believed to be the rightful heir to the Roman Empire. However, he was later executed by Octavian, who became the first Roman emperor. Cleopatra died by suicide, according to most historical accounts. She was said to have poisoned herself with a snake, although some historians believe that this is just a myth and that she may have used a different method. Cleopatra's legacy has inspired countless works of art, literature, and pop culture. She has been portrayed in movies, TV shows, and plays, and her story continues to capture the imagination of people around the world. Cleopatra VII was the last pharaoh of Egypt, and one of the most famous women in history. Her life and reign were marked by political intrigue, strategic alliances, and ultimately, tragedy. Born in Alexandria in 69 BC, Cleopatra was a member of the Ptolemaic dynasty, which had ruled Egypt since the death of Alexander the Great in 323 BC. Cleopatra's father, Ptolemy XII Auletes, was a weak and unpopular ruler who was forced to flee to Rome in 58 BC, leaving Cleopatra and her younger brother, Ptolemy XIII, to rule jointly. However, tensions between the siblings quickly arose, and in 48 BC, Ptolemy XIII staged a coup and forced Cleopatra to flee Egypt. It was during this exile that Cleopatra first met Julius Caesar, the powerful Roman general who had come to Egypt to settle a dispute between Ptolemy XIII and his sister. Cleopatra famously snuck into Caesar's palace rolled up in a carpet, and the two quickly formed an alliance. With Caesar's help, Cleopatra was able to defeat Ptolemy XIII and reclaim her throne. Cleopatra and Caesar became lovers, and in 47 BC, she gave birth to a son, whom she named Caesarion. However, their relationship was short-lived, as Caesar was assassinated in 44 BC. In the aftermath of Caesar's death, Cleopatra returned to Egypt and began to forge new alliances. In 41 BC, she met Mark Antony, one of Caesar's top generals and a member of the Second Triumvirate, which ruled Rome at the time. Cleopatra and Antony fell in love, and the two began a relationship that would shape the course of history. Over the next several years, Cleopatra and Antony formed a powerful political and military alliance. They had 3 children together, and Cleopatra used her influence to support Antony's political ambitions. However, their relationship was fraught with challenges, including Antony's marriage to Octavia, the sister of his fellow triumvir, Octavian. In 31 BC, Octavian declared war on Antony and Cleopatra, and the two sides faced off in a naval battle near Actium in Greece. Cleopatra was present at the battle, commanding a fleet of ships, but Antony's forces were ultimately defeated. Fearing capture by Octavian, Cleopatra returned to Egypt and sought to negotiate a peaceful resolution. However, Octavian was determined to eliminate his rivals, and he invaded Egypt in 30 BC. Cleopatra and Antony, believing that they had no hope of victory, committed suicide rather than face capture. Cleopatra was just 39 years old at the time of her death. Despite the tragic end to her life, Cleopatra's reign was marked by remarkable achievements. She was a skilled politician who was able to navigate the complex political landscape of the ancient world, forging alliances with some of the most powerful men of her time. She was also a patron of the arts, and her reign was marked by a flourishing of literature, music, and other cultural forms. Today, Cleopatra is remembered as one of the most powerful and influential women in history. Her story has been told and retold in countless works of literature, art, and popular culture, cementing her place as an enduring icon of female power and influence. The death of Cleopatra VII, the last pharaoh of Egypt, is one of the most famous and enduring mysteries of ancient history. According to most historical accounts, Cleopatra died by suicide in 30 BC, following the defeat of her lover and ally Mark Antony by the Roman general Octavian. However, the circumstances of her death remain shrouded in myth and legend, and there is still much debate among historians about what really happened. The story of Cleopatra's death begins with the Battle of Actium in 31 BC. Mark Antony and Cleopatra had formed a powerful alliance, and together they had assembled a large fleet to challenge Octavian's control of the Roman Empire. However, their forces were defeated in a naval battle off the coast of Greece, and they were forced to retreat to Egypt. Upon their return to Alexandria, Antony and Cleopatra faced a bleak future. Octavian's armies were closing in on Egypt, and it was clear that defeat was inevitable. Antony, devastated by the loss of the battle and the end of his dream of ruling the Roman Empire with Cleopatra by his side, reportedly attempted suicide by falling on his own sword. However, he did not die immediately, and he was brought to Cleopatra's chambers to say his final goodbyes. According to most historical accounts, Cleopatra then decided to take her own life as well. She is said to have had a basket of figs brought to her chambers, which had been hollowed out and filled with poisonous snakes. She allowed the snakes to bite her, and she died a short time later. However, some historians have questioned the veracity of this story. There is no contemporary record of Cleopatra's death, and the earliest accounts come from Roman writers who were hostile to her and her kingdom. Some have suggested that Cleopatra may have used a different method to end her life, such as poison or suffocation, or that she may have been murdered by Octavian's forces. Others have argued that the story of the snake bite was a myth, created to enhance Cleopatra's reputation as a powerful and exotic figure. Despite the many mysteries surrounding Cleopatra's death, there is no doubt that it marked the end of an era. With Cleopatra's death, Egypt became a province of the Roman Empire, and the pharaonic era came to a close. Cleopatra's legacy, however, has endured to this day. She has been celebrated as a powerful and intelligent leader, a skilled politician and strategist, and a symbol of beauty and allure. Her story has inspired countless works of art, literature, and pop culture, and her legacy continues to fascinate and inspire people around the world.